What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to my studio. My name's Jillian and I'm an artist. I do mixed media. I do collage. I do painting. I do a lot of different things. I think this is episode 8 of Let's Fucking Paint and Do Other Things. This episode is a continuation of kind of the last episode, which is the Aces! Yeah! So, if you're a returning humanoid to my channel, you will know that I am on a journey to create all new artwork this year for an upcoming tarot deck of my artwork that's based on my spiritual experience, my healing journey of transformation. Last week we were doing the first sort of 4 aces, and some of them were kind of maybe unfinished, or maybe I wanted to make a new card, and we're gonna go into the next ones on this video, and we're also gonna kind of finish and fix some other ones that were sort of cliffhangers from the last video. And if you want to know a little bit more about like why there are 7 suits instead of 4, go back and watch the previous video where I did the first part of these aces, and you'll get a little bit of a sense of that. It's in the beginning of the video.
The card descriptions.
So for the suit of arrows, it's really about power. It's about our personal power, reclaiming that personal power, finding out like where that comes from, which is the gods. It's about what we give our power away to, what we let rule over us, what we're letting in that doesn't need to be there. And so the ace of this card is really about, hey, you have personal power. And that's the imagery that we're going to tap into when we're making that one. Next, there is the suit of eyes, really about our insight, our inner insight, our focus, our attention. It's kind of about manifestation too. Like what we focus on grows. There's a lot of points on this transformational journey that we sort of lose our focus on the divine. And there's a lot of other parts on this journey where it's useful for us to actually intentionally blur our focus of all of the little crazy distractions and like things that are trying to come into sharp focus in our life, and just blur it a little bit and experience the field of awareness. The seeing eye of God into us and the seeing eye of us into God, which is one and the same. The final one that we're going to be working on is sparks, and it's represented kind of as a star imagery. The suit of sparks is really about the divine spark, that kind of purpose or destiny that we're just imbued with in this life, and our journey to follow that spark, follow that almost intuitive knowing that we know what we're here to do, that the gods and the divine and spirit guides and source and whatever the fuck you want to call it are sort of always shining into our lives that we're supposed to follow. And what happens when we don't really follow that and we get a little off course. So those are basically the things we're going to be working on this week. If you want to pop back over to last week's video, I share about the first sort of 4 suits that we're doing. And yeah, let's get into making some shit. Ew!
The approach.
So, in continuation with the aces for my minor arcana, that's totally different from the traditional tarot. Because I wasn't crazy about how the flowers turned out on the last one. I mean, I love how it's looking, but I just realized that I might want a different kind of imagery for the flowers, the ace of flowers. We're kind of going to redo this one and save this maybe for a different card. I have several hands already prepared for this, and if you want to know sort of the pre-process on how I prepare those things for the collage process, there's a video, maybe 2 videos ago, that describes how I do that in Photoshop. I have kind of a rough color palette, perhaps, of what I want to be using in these pieces, and so, yeah, we're going to continue with the 16 by 20 size, so we'll just get started and give these an orange underpaint.
Day 1.
So getting right into it, we are doing a spray bottle plus orange paint, gestural brushstrokes to complete the backgrounds on these pieces, just like I did in the previous aces. Now here's some of the hands. That's the hand for the sparks, this is the arrows, and this is going to be for the eyes. Wiggle wiggle. And there's your focus there. And then that one's going to be for the flowers, the Ace of Flowers. It's the same hand as I used before. So now I'm just going to place these out roughly where I want on the canvases. I'm going through with my ruler and finding the center of these canvases so that I can make sure that I'm getting everything all symmetrical and whatnot. Just sketching out the middle there and blue taping everything onto the canvas as I sketch out where I want some of the little scenery and stuff in the background to go. Now I'm working really diligently on this 7-pointed star, or the spark, and I had a freaking hell of a time trying to figure out how to do this. It actually took me about an hour. I don't know math. I don't have angle thingies, but I figured it out and it was a perfect proportion. Now for the arrows, I'm just kind of tracing out where I had put that chapstick in my hand in the photo and drawing out our arrow form. And then I'm making a big, huge circle for the eye in the sky. And drawing in a cloud shape where I want some of the clouds to be. And then I've cut away at the hand where the cloud will overlap it so that I can just paint right there. Now I'm going in with the background for the sparks, and this is just going to be a nice blue color. This is the lightest blue color I have, and it looks really crazy cool against the orange background. And now I'm going to start with the background for the eyes. Now, as I previously stated, when I was a child in kindergarten, I used to stare at the sun on the playground, and one of the things that I noticed was that when you look at the sun directly, it appears dark blue or black, and then there's this crazy aura around it. So I'm just kind of creating a crazy aura around it. Then I'm doing the background for the Ace of Flowers, which is basically the same as the previous flower that I worked on. Kind of an ochre-y, lemony color with lighter toned clouds sprinkled throughout. So I thought that I was recording this, but it turns out that my camera died. Anyways, this is like a photo of a poppy, and then I added other photos of other poppies behind it to sort of make it bigger so that I can have like a bigger flower, because I didn't have a picture of that, and I glued it on.
Well, it's very end of day number 1, and I figured it would be a good time for me to sort of pause and look at these and figure out what I want to go do next, what I want to do next with these. So let's look at them individually. So for this second version of the Ace of Flowers, I want it to be on fire. And I think the reason that I want it to be on fire is because, so it's going to be rainbow flames. And I've done some pieces with rainbow flames in the past. There's been a flaming bird motif that's been in a bunch of different pieces. And I did do a flower on rainbow fire, but I don't know where it is. I think it's covered up by some other stuff. But I wanted to have that. I think it's really kind of a fun, powerful symbol that's sort of about setting something on fire in like a triumphant way. This one is going to be the Ace of Eyes, or Sight, or Insight. I think I'm going to call it Eyes. I'm not really sure what I'm going to actually call it, but this one is inspired by what the sun looks like when you stare at it for half a second, which you shouldn't do, but I used to do this on the playground as a child. So the middle here is going to be a big blue eye. It's supposed to be about, it's like this real presence, right? I am here. And then I'm not sure what I want to see happen on the bottom portion, but that can be figured out. The spark or star, I know that I want this portion to sort of be a landscape where there's a trail leading off, the divine spark, and following this path that the divine thing is leading you on. So there needs to be a trail. I like this landscape scenery. I left this cloud area blank, and I'm not sure if I want to bring in the colors from the landscape down here into the clouds, maybe even leaving the little star orange underpainting color. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Then on the arrow, I pretty much did shit on this one today. I drew in where I want the arrow to be, and I painted the background a little bit. You know, I don't know, I've been struggling with how I wanted to do this composition, really. I didn't want it to be so boring, like it's just a hand with an arrow. Bring in something else, something maybe celebratory. Flowers, maybe. So we shall see. In looking at them all together, I'm enjoying that there is kind of this balance. We have a couple pink ones, a purple one, a goldish yellowy one, this dark one over here, and then this blue. And I'm kind of thinking if I'm gonna do blue on the Ace of Arrows, maybe it should be a little darker. Maybe, I'm not really sure what to do. Really not sure. But that's the beauty of this kind of stuff. You never really know what exactly is going on until you start doing it. So I guess with that, we'll see you for day 2 tomorrow.
Day 2.
It's rainbow flame time! I started with like a purple smoke thing in the furthest back layer, and then I'm just adding different rainbowy colors coming into basically the forefront. Just brushing, blending, making it rainbowy and making it cool. That's pretty much all there is to it. It took a long time though. Now I'm just gonna glue on the hand onto the Ace of Flowers. This is basically how I do it. I have like a little mat board and just purple glue stick and just slap her on there. Now I'm gonna go in and paint like the stem and the little leaf foliage part of this flower coming out of the hand, starting with a real dark green, kind of olivey color. And then I'm going to be going back in with highlights with a slightly lighter color, curving around the hand, sort of like that. It was pretty cool. Now on to the Stark Desert Mountains in the Sparks card. Basically similar to how I did this in the Lights card last time, just being kind of creative and fun and funky and free with it. Oranges and reds and pinks and yellows kind of all blended together to form this cool little landscape, and this is a really addicting part of the process. I just have so much freaking fun doing this, and it's like a sure sign to me of more landscapes to come in the next few pieces that I do. Nice. Now I'm going to show some process of stuff I'm trying to do with the Ace of Arrows, and I didn't end up keeping any of this because I didn't like it, but you know what? We try things out. That's what's important. And, you know, sometimes you think you like a color combination and it's actually good, but it doesn't really work for what you're trying to do with like that kind of particular imagery. And that's okay. You just leave it and you move on. But you know what? Boy howdy, I knew what I wanted to do for this eyeball, so I just started going. Darker, lighter, flotching, blotching, blending. I was a little bit unsure of how I was going to be doing this, and a little bit unsure of how it was looking as I was working on it. But once I started to kind of fill in the center of the eye and go in with some highlights and things like that, it was starting to look kind of more real. And the finishing touch for that part of it seemed to be outlining it in a little bit of like almost white, to make it kind of look like the whites of your eyes kind of a look. And it was looking pretty neat, so congrats self, you did it. Then I'm gonna go in and do like a darker blue into lighter blue clouds for this Ace of Sparks, which I thought would be nice. I actually liked the idea that it would blend into the background a little bit more and kind of marry that top part to itself, so it wasn't all so stark. And I'm actually adding in a little bit more gold detailing to this piece, the outline of that trail, and then the outline of the 7-pointed spark star itself. As well, of course, as some starry splatters. Then, as I'm kind of finalizing the positions that I would like my hands to be at on this eye, I am drawing in a landscape below and the clouds that the hands are going to be coming out of, and giving that kind of a dark purple into, I don't know, grayish color for the clouds on either side. I like this look because it kind of looks like the hands are framing this crazy sun for you. Now for this background, landscape, I guess, dark brown, olive green, and then lighter tones of green up on top of it. This really added some awesomeness to it. It really puts it into perspective and gives it a sense of place, that it is like a sun shining down and not just like a cool little like thing that hands are looking at in abstract space. It makes it seem like it's more real. Cool, man.
So I've got all these aces here, and you know, these are some of the ones from this round, these are some of the ones from last round, and altogether I think I'm liking how they're looking. These newer ones are pretty exciting. I just have to glue down the hands on that one and this one back here and color the fingernails a bit. I still want to fix the candle on that one. The only one that's really not working is this fucking one, the arrow. I'm just not loving the color combination. I'm thinking I'm going to go in this direction with it, with sort of the dark burgundy background and maybe some dark rainbowy prismatic things. The one thing that I landed on that I did like about this one was this idea of it kind of coming up out of the clouds like this rainstorm. You've risen above it all, like you've made it, you're here with your power. Something like that. It's a good idea, but I think we're having to do burgundy background. The arrow should probably be gold, like the golden arrow, like shiny symbolism of your personal power. So I think that's what we're gonna do. Let's fuck with this arrow painting.
Who doesn't love a good transformation? That's what this deck is about anyway, isn't it? So I started going in over the arrow with like a copper paint color and then doing a bunch of different layers of the burgundy paint. And while I'm letting that dry, I'm going to work on painting the fingernails on these other aces. Some green, some orange, and some like burgundy pinky type colors. And I'm adding little golden sparks coming off of this rainbow flame, which was a really fun touch. Just kind of looks like it's exploding with energy. And then adding even more gold details of stars and sparks and orbs to the spark card to sort of make it seem like the energy of it sort of extending out into the cosmos. Started doing some little pink and orange ones, and then I'm adding gold dots and stars and particles and shine to the eye one as well. And it's starting to look really awesome. Hell yeah. Okay, this is super weird, but I'm sitting here and I'm drawing in where I want to have these clouds against this burgundy sky. And it's like I've literally had this dream before about doing this. And now I'm trying to figure out what happened in the dream. It's like dream deja vu. This is so strange. A little bit of dream deja vu, never hurt anybody. I just started to decide to paint these blue clouds that kind of blend into the burgundy background. And I'm making a rainbow arch that I'm going to paint in later. And then I'm adding in kind of patchy, tinier clouds that look like they're kind of going into the background. Then I'm not exactly sure what compelled me to do it this way, but I wanted this rainbow that I was going to put in to be glowy looking, so I put in like a lighter color first and then added in all these little rainbow stripes. Yep.
Day 3.
So it's a new day. I'm in here, I'm looking at these, and I'm realizing that some of them have like a real wow factor. A real like, whoa, that, obviously, that. This needs more wow. These 3 on the bottom just need more wow. And I think we're gonna have fire on this one. Stars and clouds and rain. That's the wow there. This needs wow in that I think either the sun kind of needs to be exploding out or doing something a bit more dynamic. And then this one needs wow. I think it needs rainbow prisms kind of coming off the star. So let's add some wow. Here comes the wow. Starting to add this fire coming off of the arrow. I'm doing several coats of this pink and then adding the flame over top of that with all those rainbow flames. I also added these little raindrops on the bottom coming down from the clouds. Then I'm adding little sparks coming off of the flame and also just peppered throughout the sky on this one, which I was really starting to love it. It was looking great. And I decided to add an extra gold outline around this spark 7-pointed star and then extra pizzazz kind of, centered, sort of clustered near the radius of it. And then I'm painting in and making this arrow gold. And this was a really good part. This was exciting to do. It really made it feel more complete. I'm adding in some like little details. I don't know what you call that, but like this fabric wrapped parts of the arrow. Just finishing that off with some gold, some little blue dots, and pasting down the hand. Redoing the cloud a tiny bit, and then painting the fingernails. Let's see what we think of it. Oh yeah. Wow, so I decided to spend a little more time on this just off camera, and I'm starting to think that it's getting more doner. I came in and made this candle, this lighter yellow color that's kind of down in here, painted the fingernails back like this red color, and then I've done a little bit more in painting on this. I repositioned the little handle hook so it looks like it's sort of resting on that finger. It looks more natural that way. And I think I probably just need to make this more of a feature. How to do that, I don't know. Maybe some gold rings going around. I mean, now as sort of a group, it's looking better and more cohesive. I do kind of like the arrow. I'm just about finished. I'm really excited to get this done.
The beer critique.
You know what fucking time it is. It's time for the beer critique. Ooh, that was a spicy one, eh? Cheers, everybody. So I'm pretty excited for this beer critique because I finished obviously the last 3 aces, plus I made a new ace of flowers, and I fixed the candle, I fixed the lights. So overall, this is going to be the full critique of all of them together. As you already know by my enthusiasm, I think it's pretty cool. I think they all look really good, and I think they're going to be perfect aces. I think it's a really nice group. They each have something really fun and inviting and dynamic about them. Yeah, there's vibiness, there's effervescence, there's color, there's subtlety, there's great symbols. That powerful hand of the ace. Yeah, so I guess let's sit down and look at them individually. By the way, random tangent, White Claw started putting this green apple flavor in their like large pack instead of the watermelon, and I'm a little sad. I actually love the watermelon. It'll do for the fucking beer critique, alright? Also, I just wanted to say that one of you commented on the last video that I shouldn't be too hard on myself about what I'm working on, and you know, thank you, person, for saying that. I was a little bit kind of confused and maybe slightly downer about what I was doing in the critique last time, rating things from like worst to best, but I think it's important to acknowledge that like during these creative processes, it is natural to like go through doubt and feeling like, am I even doing this idea justice? Especially for me, like when I'm working on something that's a smaller piece, I want it to be impactful, but I also feel like I know it's not going to be like this great masterwork or have that like masterwork feeling like a 24x36 has to me. Sometimes, I have to be honest about this, sometimes during the process, it feels like making something on a smaller scale isn't worth it, which is stupid, but that's sometimes what I think. And also with these being the aces though, they're like important cards for this deck that I want to create. It was important to like nail the imagery and like do this image justice, and so there was a lot of kind of complex emotions I was feeling in the last video that maybe I didn't quite let on, but anyway, these are all really good, so let's start with one of them. It doesn't have to be best to worst this time. So first up, here's the lights, guys. I don't think I filmed a lot of what I did to improve on this one, but I'm really, really happy with this one now. Even the color of the hand doesn't particularly matter to me. Yeah, I added this real fun, like, wacky pizzazz to the candle. And the candle itself, there's this really subtle little detail where I mostly painted it yellow, that lighter yellow that you see in this kind of bottom part of this desert composition. But then I added in just a slight little bit of orange into where it's dripping. This wax is kind of dripping, and it really gives it a lot of dimension, and it looks like waxy. I don't know how to describe it. I also changed the handle position so that it looks like this finger that's reaching out is actually like holding on to it. The handle position was sort of wrong before. And then I kind of in-painted a little bit more into this candelabra candle holder thingy so that it really looks pretty cool. And yeah, I added a few more orbs, and I'm really happy with how fun it turned out. And I think this is what I wanted. I think this is what I envisioned for it. So nice job, self. Sometimes you just have to let your expectations go of what you think you're making and just try. Just kind of go with the flow of an idea. And yeah, happy with it. Here's your lights. Woo! So next we have the arrow. Woo! I'm so proud of this one.
it was looking sketchy there for a while, guys. I really struggled with how to make this image the way I wanted it, how to make it really exciting, but I'm really glad that I pushed myself and just decided to echo the kind of dark burgundy color that was happening in the butterfly or the wings suit and give this one a dark background with these really cool rain drips, this hand of the gods like sticking straight out of a bright ass cloud with this golden arrow out of the rainstorm into like the renewal of power and promise and just flaming with this crazy rainbow flame and all these little sparks. I love these little gold sparks that are kind of just coming off. This rainbow was a great touch. I used to do so many rainbow things in my pieces some years ago, and I'm happy I brought the motif back in. It's probably gonna be pretty present in the cards. I kind of like how I handled these weird like feathers. You know, I started with like a copper metallic color and then just went over with metallic gold, and it's kind of drippy and weird and cool and abstract. The sort of visual symbolism for this one is really quite cool. On this journey to kind of reclaim our power and reassess what we're giving power to, it really feels like this ace energy is you're rising above the shit. You're rising above the muck, the rain, the storm of other people trying to control you and trying to like take control over how you see the world and how you experience things. And you've taken your power back. And the rainbow, of course, is that like providential message of hope. I love this card image and it's gonna make a great ace. Yay. So I think this rainbow flame thing is about like your soul set on fire in the coolest, best possible way. Like your aura is just blazing with energy and brightness and effervescence. Next, we've got this ace of eyes. Woo, this one's pretty fun. This one's pretty crazy. When I was trying to suss out what is my ace image for the eyes, I originally wanted it to feel sort of like when you stare at the sun and then you blink and it's like it appears blue or black or this really crazy color. I used to stare at the sun as a child on the playground. Not the best idea, but that's what I did. Intro to psychedelic like experience as a 5-year-old. It's really about the hands of the gods giving you this direct like focus point on the gods, on the divine. It's sort of like that expression where if you look at the void long enough, the void will look back at you. Well, here's the god. This image is also really saying like the gods see you and we are offering you the opportunity to hone your focus on the divine within you and the divine that you assume is outside of you, but that you will freaking come to understand is also within you and there is no separation. So that kind of focus, that recognition, that moment of, I don't know, attention, keen focus. Have you ever had an experience where you're just doing your thing and there's sort of no real thought in your mind, but you just have this like ping, like God sees me right now. Okay guys, this is the spark. You know, it's similar to the star, but it's really very different. The spark is really about the divine spark, the spark of creativity, the spark of destiny. Following this path that spirit and this energy that you come into this existence with towards that destiny, this path that you follow, like the Magi would follow, you know? It's about this guiding you through the desert, through weird places, towards what's really meant for you. And yeah, that's why I really decided to use this desert motif that's really similar to the lights, because it's sort of about divine light in a different sense. And this one was super successful. I had fun again painting this kind of like desert scene, this like desolate mountain area, and this sort of golden trail leading into the distance that's really representative of our actual path that we walk on in life. And yeah, the spark from the gods, just this guiding thing that we seem to be following, that even if we look back on our life like 10 years later, it's like, oh, there was a reason that that was placed in my path, and when I ignored that thing, got a little off course. So yeah, this is the path that we walk, and I really love how this one turned out. There's a lot of gold shininess in this one, and I'm happy that I ended up like outlining this again to make it more dynamic with this gold, make this sort of sparking star more dynamic and more blasty, and then just adding a bunch of these little tiny sparkly gold details coming off of it. This one's great. I don't even really know if there's much to say about this one. It's just a cool image and I'm happy with how I painted it. It rules. It's gonna be a great ace. Ace of Flowers. Here was the alternative one that I worked on last week. I would say that this is way more like ecstatic, initiatory vibes of change is here, change is coming, you are ready. This rainbow flaming flower, it's sort of like you are ripe and ready to just let some stuff burn. Like, there's so much beauty and weird, like, deliciousness about being in that space where you are just absolutely certain that it is time to change something. It's time to, like, ecstatically burn off what's no longer necessary. I've been in this place, and that's why I wanted to make this card. A really important energetic piece to this whole transformation journey, and this suit really being about the process of transformation, this is a perfect starting point. There comes a time in our lives where we're just like, holy shit, something's gotta give, and I'm ready to just burn it at all costs. Like, anything that doesn't serve me, let it blow up in beautiful rainbow prismatic flames. This is that. This is it. The yellow really, to me, feels like it's a cheerful blowing up of something. It's a cheerful burning of something. Like, it's okay that these times in our life come up. You can't stay the same forever. Stagnation is just like nasty. Gross, swampy water, like, especially like when tiny little parts of you start to change and evolve, you really come to this point where you realize that, like, all right, the tiny parts have evolved. Now we need to step into where big things need to change. That could be anything from the people that you've spent time with, maybe that's not working anymore, or the mindsets that you've held, your habits, or ways that you sort of view the world. Like, these things all kind of need to beautifully burn. Something new needs to come into creation, and this card allows that, right? This image allows that. To come to this recognition right here, that this is okay, and it's good, and it's welcome, and like, let's fucking go. Amazing, completely transformative, and it kicks off the start of an incredible journey, the likes of which you will be fucking stunned. So I guess that's it, guys. We did it. We made another 4 cards, actually, replaced the other one that wasn't working and fixed the one that wasn't working from last time, so we've got a set of fucking aces. Woo! I have this weird feeling that I'm wrestling with, which is that, well, not all of these images are going to be like this strong, iconic thing. And so maybe I'm not always going to feel so like hyped to do them or hyped about how they turned out. And that was kind of the case when I was working with these. Like, I wasn't always super hyped about them. But I do know that I'm super hyped about the concept for this deck. I'm super hyped about the fact that Spirit has been sort of pushing and shoving me towards revealing these inner wisdoms that I have learned in visual form and in like the booklet that will go with these cards. That there will end up being kind of a masterwork of like my mind and my journey, and it'll hopefully be really helpful to people. And so even though these are not masterpieces necessarily, and they're not like my best work ever, I should still feel really confident about making them and happy that I'm doing it in service of what I think is supposed to be happening. So I just want to thank you all so much for coming along on this journey with me. Next week, we're going to go back into the major arcana. It'll be fun to dive back into the major arcana, do something a little larger. And yeah, so I hope you follow me along for that video. Also, I have a website, enlightenmentbarbie.com, and on my website you will find a variety of journals, prints, a lot of different fun types of things that I have to offer. So if you feel like supporting me more, you can check me out on there. I also have an Instagram at Enlightenment Barbie, and I have a little fun over there. Go in peace, spread joy, keep being awesome, and remember 2 things. The gods are looking out for you, baby. And life is but a lucid dream. Mwah!
If you like this kind of content, make sure you subscribe. See you later.